I saw the Black Adam movie. Let's talk about it. Hello, heroes and villains. Welcome to Multiverse. So, earlier today, I went and saw the Black Adam movie, and there's only one word to describe it. It was awesome. In a nutshell, I guess I'll give you the short version. If you like action movies, there's plenty of action in that movie, and there's a lot of great action sequences. There's some really fun fights between the characters. So there's some fun action bits, and I always got a kick whenever I saw Black Adam fly somewhere. I can't explain it. I really got a kick out of that. So if you like action movies, you should like it. If you like The Rock, you should like it. Although I was a bit surprised, there seems to be a lot of people who really hate The Rock for some reason, and it's from both sides of the aisles. I saw some people who seem to hate The Rock because he's an evil male, and I saw people who seem to hate The Rock because they think he supports Joe Biden. So I got a bit of mixed messages on that front. I'm not sure why people seem to hate The Rock so much, but it does seem to contribute quite a bit to people trying to trash that movie so much. Also, if you like the JSA, the Justice Society of America, you're going to enjoy that movie. I really got a kick seeing the JSA. Yeah, it's not really the classic version of the JSA, it's just a handful of characters that call themselves the JSA, but at least we had the Dr. Fate. If you're a fan of Dr. Fate, there's a lot of scenes with Dr. Fate, and there's a lot of action sequences with Dr. Fate, and so again, some really fun sequences. I thought it was a bit weird that we did not see the eyes on the helmet sometimes, or most of the time. We only saw the eyes. At some point, the eyes started glowing on the helmet, but most of the time, we don't see the eyes of the helmet. That's the one thing that kind of bothered me with Dr. Fate. It's not a big issue. It just, it kind of, I did find it weird whenever I would see Dr. Fate, and there was no eyes on the helmet. Although he's a magic character, it's a magic helmet, so odds are, you probably didn't need eye holes to be able to see through the helmet. Hawkman was pretty good as well. I really enjoyed the Hawkman. I know some people are not too happy because they race swapped the character, but the guy they selected to play Hawkman actually did a really good job. I guess they race swapped him because they figured that Hawkman was technically the reincarnation of an Egyptian character, of an ancient Egyptian prince, although technically it's the reincarnation of an ancient alien from Thanagar. But I can see how they thought that they should race swap the character because he's sort of an Egyptian character, although he's the reincarnation of an Egyptian prince. So it could easily be a white guy either way. But I didn't mind the race swap. I thought the actor who played Hawkman did a really good job, so no complaint there. They also race swapped Cyclone, but I barely knew the character. She comes from the Jeff Jones era of the JSA, and I have to admit, I never really cared for that character, so whether they re-swapped her or not, didn't really care about that. I really enjoyed also Atom Smasher. I love the costume, the look he had with the costume, and the way they realized his powers. That was pretty awesome. The one nitpick I would have is that for some reason they gave him some sort of a food fetish. He kept on wanting to eat and asking for food and trying to eat something. I'm not sure why they felt that was needed, but that's a minor nitpick. And for Dr. Fate, they did a great job with Dr. Fate. Pierce Brosnan did a great job at playing Kent Nelson, and when he puts on the helmet of Dr. Fate, ooh, he does turn a bit spooky. There's one line that people didn't seem to like very much. Basically, Dr. Fate tells Black Adam, surrender or die, something like that. And people didn't understand why Dr. Fate came in so strong and so aggressively as opposed to trying to defuse the situation. But Dr. Fate is an ancient Lord of Order. I guess, yeah, if he's an ancient Lord of Order, he would probably have some wisdom to try to defuse the situation through dialogue. But he also might be a bit arrogant, being technically a god. So maybe that made him a bit arrogant. So right off the bat, he went right there and told him, kneel or die. And obviously, Black Adam doesn't kneel, and he doesn't die either. So it led to a pretty cool action sequence. And there's also Sarah Sahi. I'm probably mispronouncing, or Shahi. I'm probably mispronouncing her name. She was playing Shaw in Person of Interest. She was also playing a cop. I forget her name in the TV series Life. I really liked her in those series. And she was really good with her attitude to play a badass, even though she's like a tiny lady that's like 5 foot, 5'2", probably 80 pounds. But I really enjoyed her in those TV series, and here I thought she did a really good job. They gave her a weird Kondak accent, and it was fine. I probably would have done without the accent, but either way, I really enjoyed her. So in short, if you are a DC fan, if you are a fan of The Rock, if you are a fan of the JC, of Doctor Fate, of Hawkman, you should probably see this movie. If you're a fan of action movies, and probably something else I failed to mention, overall it's a really fun action movie. But the story, I really enjoyed the story as well. I see a lot of people complaining about the story. Not sure what they're complaining about because the story was fine. Yeah, there's a bit of exposition to be able to give some backstory to Black Adam. There's also a bit of exposition to introduce all the members of the JSA. But it's not like they gave exposition for no good reason. The exposition they gave was really needed to flesh out Black Adam and also to flesh out the various character. So to do that, they used exposition and flashbacks, and it would seem that people seems to think that as soon as there's a flashback, it's a bad storytelling device, or as soon as there's a narration, it's a bad storytelling device. It actually worked well in that movie. In the context of the movie, I thought the choices they made with narrations and with the flashbacks, I thought those worked really well. So, if what just told you sounds interesting to you, go see the movie because it's going to need all the help it can get. It would seem that the critics decided to trash that movie and they're trying to take the Black Adam movie down, sadly. I don't know again why they hate The Rock so much, and obviously right now they seem to hate DC quite a lot because they cancelled Batwoman, they cancelled the Batgirl movie, and probably something else I failed to mention. So the critics are really dead set on trashing that movie right now, and sadly, I don't think they're being very fair to the movie. When you look at at some of the comments, like some complain that it's a superhero movie. Of course, it's a superhero movie, but some people complained about that. They complained that it was too much of a superhero movie somehow, which was ridiculous, I thought. We seem to be seeing a repeat of what happened with Venom way back when we got the first Venom movie. The critics trashed that movie. On Rotten Tomato, it got like 30% from the critics and 80% from the audience. And here we see pretty much a repeat of that. Black Adam right now, last I checked, had about 40% from the critics on Rotten Tomatoes, but it had 88% from the audience. So don't let the critics convince you not to see the movie. It is a pretty great movie. It is a fun movie. It is an action-packed movie. It is a fun story. It is a fun superhero movie. Even though it's pretty dark and there's a lot of action, it's still a fun superhero movie. But that the critics trashed the movie, that was to be expected. But what really surprised me is that YouTubers also trashed that movie. I thought that at least YouTubers know that sadly these days we cannot trust the critics. It's sad, but that's how it is. So I was a bit surprised to see YouTuber also trash that movie. Although they were not trashing the movie because they saw it and they didn't think it was good. Like if the YouTubers saw the movie, thought it was garbage, and said as much, I could almost understand. But a lot of YouTubers who did not even see the movie at first they saw the projections. The projections were projecting some low box office, and all the YouTubers pretty much jumped on the bandwagon and started making thumbnails like Black Adam disaster. I understand that with YouTube, sadly, if you make a thumbnail of Black Adam with disaster written all over it, it's gonna get a lot more click than if you make a thumbnail saying that Black Adam is awesome. So I was a bit disappointed to see a lot of YouTubers jump on the bandwagon to thrash the movie, maybe to make a few extra click, by saying that the Black Adam would be a disaster. But if that was based on them seeing the movie, I could understand. But that was based on the projections that got adjusted a bit later because obviously the projections were way too low, and most YouTubers should have known that. But also, they were using the critics. They were using the critics on Rotten Tomato, the low critic score, and the complaints from the critics. They were using that to trash the movie, even though they know that we cannot trust the critics these days. But somehow that did not stop them from trashing the movie using those same critics. Very often the YouTubers will tell us that the critics don't matter, don't listen to what the critics are saying, but it was a bit disappointing to see them jump on the bandwagon to use the critics in order to trash the Black Adam movie. I guess it's going to give them some deniability. They're going to be able to say, oh no, We did not hate the movie. The critics hated the movie. That's what we were reporting. What the critics were saying. We were reporting what the box office projections were saying. We did not really think it was this disaster. We did not really trash the movie. We were just saying what other people were saying. I assume some of them will deflect their them trashing the movie by saying something like that. Although already we see some of the YouTubers were trashing the movie based on the critics. Now that they've seen the movie, they're starting to change their tune. They're starting to admit that, oh, Black Adam was actually a pretty fun movie. Sadly, that did not stop them from making videos trashing the movie, probably just to get a few clicks. I guess that was a bit disappointing. I did not expect that from at least some of the YouTubers. I thought they had more integrity than that, I suppose. So there you go. So this is pretty much my 2 cents about the Black Adam movie. I will keep it spoiler free because I don't want to spoil the movie. I want you guys to go and see the movie. I really don't want to ruin it for you. Although there is one spoiler that I will sort of address. There is a special cameo towards the end of the movie. And I can tell you that when that special cameo happened, people cheered in the theater. So people are really happy to see that cameo, and I can blame them. I was happy myself. So there you go, guys. So don't let the critics stop you from seeing that movie. Don't let the naysayers stop you from seeing that movie. The Black Adam is an awesome movie. Some great actions, a good origin story, and The Rock is Black Adam. After seeing this movie, there is no way at all that you can imagine someone else being Black Adam other than The Rock. I guarantee it. I guess if you guys want a spoiler review, I could make one a bit later. I'm gonna have to think about the movie some more. Maybe see it one more time if I decide to make a spoiler review. I guess I'll have to give it some thoughts. So guys, go see that movie. Seeing how the critics and even some YouTubers are trashing it, the movie is going to need all the help it can get to make sure that it is successful.